Dan Luca is our guest. We're going to get all into the paranormal, supernatural tonight, how it all ties in, and we're going to get going here in about 30 seconds. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Hey, Escape from Blue Jersey, good to see you. Jose, nice to have you here. Here we go, everyone. 5 seconds. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Dan Luca is a paranormal supernatural researcher from the United Kingdom, so good morning to him. He's also very heavily involved in exposing some of today's biggest conspiracies, turning truth to fiction and fiction to truth. However, it's his own dealings with the unknown that has led Dan down the path of learning about the afterlife, experiences that would scare the socks off of someone who's never dealt with the paranormal. We're going to learn about this very shortly. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Good morning to you, Dan Luca, all the way in the UK. Thank you for staying up late to join us, or getting up early, whatever you decide to choose. We're just glad you're here, my friend.
Thank you very much, Dave. And it's a pleasure to be here, and very much hope to share some interesting information with you about my life experiences, the paranormal, alien encounters, UFOs, and some about my, let's say, for 20 years I practiced a certain meditation. I might share some of that as well.
Well, I could use it right now, man. I could use it right now. I feel like I got the world weighing on my shoulders right now because I'm literally day 2 without caffeine. Day 2. And I am like already feeling it. My shoulders are being weighed down. So we may need some of that meditation stuff, man, later on in the show to help me out. Get me into some zen and some chi from getting over this. But we're glad you're here, my friend. You know, for our audience or those of us in North America who may not be too familiar with you, do you remember how you got into all of this? It obviously started with an experience.
Yeah, I've since early childhood, I've known something was different about me. Mainly that I had memories that I couldn't explain, and I didn't necessarily know what they were at the time. So yeah, from very early in childhood, I was questioning reality. I was holding memories that I didn't fully understand, and it was only later on in adult life that I realized what some of those memories were. But for the most part, my mind couldn't fathom why they were there or how they got there.
Was it ghosts or was it aliens that first came and got you into searching for the unknown?
Well, one of the strange things that used to happen to me, I was living in London at the time, so I've got quite a good recollection so I was in London until about the age of 11. And from about 9 to 11, years, 9 to 11, I started having a lot of out-of-body experiences. So I would be in my bedroom falling asleep, and then later on during the evening, I would have out-of-body experiences and go off there. I even went to America out of body and would go off various places. Now, the strange thing was, every now and again, about sort of seven out of 10 times that this would happen, because it used to happen a lot. 7 out of 10 times when this used to happen, I used to see these eerie, thin, spindly, glowing beings on my staircase, about 5 of them. And they would scare the bejesus out of me back into my body. So that was my first encounter with something strange, let's say. And, you know, I remember when the internet first came out that I tried to look up these beings, but I mean, if someone can, any of your listeners can tell me what they are, but they nearly always used to be there. And as a result, when they weren't there, I would go off out of body and just kind of traveling around the world out of body. But when they were there, and I can't remember if they were benevolent or malevolent, but they were enough to scare me back into my body, basically. But yeah, sort of thin, glowing white beings, like translucent color and slightly thinner than normal human. And they were there very often when I went out of body. So that was the start of the paranormal side of my childhood.
I could not imagine experiencing that as a child. Like, even with my 7-year-old son, I could not imagine him going through something like that, having out-of-body experiences and seeing ethereal type beings, you know, on his travels. I mean, as a child, how did that scare you, or how did you react to that?
I suppose it was probably one of the I mean, fear was an early emotion. Obviously, as a child, you tend not to be very fearful, but they scared me enough, because obviously I didn't know what they were as a child. So they scared me enough to not want to go off traveling, put it that way. So yeah, I'll jump back into my body, and then I stopped having out of body experiences, you know, into adulthood. So I never really saw them again. But I never really did manage to understand why they were there, the timing of when they were there, because they always seemed to be there. Like I say, about 70% of the time when I would go out of body, they seemed to just happen to be there, which didn't seem like coincidence, almost as though they perhaps knew I was going out of body, maybe due to alignments or anything, I don't know. But they kind of knew, I would suspect, that I was coming out of body. So yeah, I don't know if they were there to prevent me going any further, as a scare tactic, or maybe to
Wow,
communicate with me. I don't know.
How many times? How often was this happening?
It's hard to say exactly how many times a week or something, but it was frequently. It was a frequent thing that I thought was kind of normal at the time. And the good thing is that, see, I'm big on discernment. So with regards to all of my experiences, I don't necessarily trust them entirely. I still question things. And if it comes to paranormal experiences of my own, I'll go through a process of discernment to kind of prove whether it has any credibility or it's not just pure imaginings of the mind or something like that. But luckily, in adulthood, I also had one out-of-body experience. So it was very similar to my remembrance of when I was younger. So yeah, as an adult, I had a momentary out-of-body experience as well. So I know it's a real phenomenon, if you like. The adult experience kind of verified that for me.
See, I've had a lot of weird stuff happen to me, man, but I have not had an out-of-body experience. And that one I am so thankful for. I mean, I've astral traveled. I've gone astral traveling with friends, and it's kind of weird what you see there. But to actually have that out-of-body experience, or that near-death experience where the silver cord takes you wherever you need to go, haven't had that, man. And that one just scares the living daylights out of me. just thinking about that. I wouldn't want that. I just wouldn't. It creeps me out just talking about it.
I've actually got a vivid memory of sitting on a gas station in America, on the roof of a gas station while it was raining. Can you believe that? But sometimes I would shadow people. For some unknown reason, I followed the writings of someone called John Steinbeck. He wrote a book about King Arthur, and that fascinated me as a child, and so somehow I managed to watch what he was doing and follow his journeys every now and again. But that was another thing that came with that ability was there was also I had, when I used to go to bed at night as a child, I used to listen like a radio tune. I used to listen out for minds coming above the crest, kind of peeking above the just minds that I could hear. I used to tune into people, I guess, that could communicate by mind when I was young, and so that was quite fascinating. And it's there's one part that I'm a bit reluctant to share. Let me just say, at one point I got entangled as a child with a government project that I didn't understand what was going on as a child, but there was a communication that took place for a while. I might just come out. Okay, I'm just going to come out.
Let's just do it. What the heck? I mean, we're old friends. We're old friends. You and I have known each other for about 20 minutes now. So, I mean, if that isn't enough to get into some serious woo, let's just do it. Let's just do it. What the heck?
So, like I said, I would listen out for minds and communicate with them. And at one time, someone came online. Let's just say online, just for turn of phrase. So, someone came online one evening. Very friendly chap, and he told me he was involved with a project of sorts, and we got friendly, and he asked me to assist him in his work, if you like. I said, that I was fine with that. I didn't have any problems. So each evening I would tune into this chap's mind, and he would ask me to do certain visualize certain things. So he'd ask me to think of a circle, or think of a square, or imagine this or imagine that. And I didn't really know what he was up to. So this went on for some time. Again, I didn't really know who he was. I probably knew him by name then, and but much more than that, I didn't really know why he was chatting to me, why he was asking me to do some of these mundane tasks. But he was quite friendly, so I didn't mind too much. Then one day, as I tuned into his mind, he came online, and he was quite panicky, and he said it's going pear shaped. They're using it for the wrong reasons. The government he's referring to. This is when I started finding out it was government related, who he worked for, and we need to end it. We need to. And I was like, "What do you mean we need to end? I don't understand what you mean. We need to end it. I need you to destroy the base." It's literally what he said. I need you to destroy the base. I remember saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand what you mean. And I'm going to get to the point in a moment. So he asked me to just imagine a monster. He was using child talk. Imagine a monster and just trash the place. I was like, and I remember this memory really clearly, because I've got a terrible imagination, and the only thing I could think of in terms of a monstery type was King Kong. So I imagined this big ape thing tearing up the place where he was and everything. And I remember saying, "Did it work?" And he goes, "Yes, it worked, but we won't speak again, and I won't divulge anything." And that was that. And that was the end. I never talked to him again. And I was like, okay, I never really thought much of it from there on in. It was only later in adulthood that I realized exactly what who I was talking with, and that was, I don't know if you or some of your listeners have heard, it's something called the Montauk Project. Okay, now for those familiar with the story, in the Montauk Project, they have the base was destroyed by something that they call, was it Bigfoot or Big Junior, or I can't remember the exact name, but there was a creature that destroyed their base that just came out of nowhere. Apparently, that's how the story goes. So when I read that story, I think it's Al Bielek was the one who told the story about the Montauk chair and the Montauk Project. As soon as I read that story, as soon as I read the story about this ape thing trashing the place, I realized that the person I was communicating was in the Montauk chair, which was an amplification. It was like a mind amplification device. So that was a strange experience. And I'm 100% sure that's exactly who I was talking to, was the person, there were two people, Al Bielek, and there was one other person that used the chair. I can't recall his name.
Now, wasn't not to cut you off there, but wasn't Al Bielek in the end shown to be a little bit of a fraud in regards to his experiences with not only Montauk but the Philadelphia experiment?
There was Al Bielek, and for the life of me, I can't remember the other chap that used the chair. So it might have been one of the two. I don't know who the other chap was. I don't remember his name. But the interesting thing was,
you got something out of it.
For some reason, I also had entangled memories of the Philadelphia experiment, which I couldn't understand. And again, these were memories I had that I didn't understand until later on, after I read about the experiment, which was, my memory was some people on a ship. There's this machine in the middle of the ship. It goes wrong and they start to try and break it. So it's like something amplify, gets out of control, and they start to break it. And I had that memory for some reason of the Philadelphia experiment, which might have been related to the Montauk. I don't know. But I'll touch on the Philadelphia thing later because it does tie in. So that was another experience as a child, this psychic thing of kind of tapping into people's minds. There were other people's minds I tapped into. Niels Bohr, a physicist, for some reason. I don't know why, as a child I was tapping into his mind. Bruce Lee was another one. I don't know how this happened, but I found myself like watching him through his eyes when he was in hospital, and he's drawing down these diagrams of martial arts, and suddenly he has this eureka moment. I think that's what I tapped into. He has this eureka moment where he realizes, like, it's like everything mashes together and he knows his martial art 100%. It's like everything suddenly fits, and he goes all kind of eureka-y and crazy and happy. John Steinbeck was another one. So this started to get more and more normal. This psychic ability to tap into other minds as a child, it became a kind of normal thing, and then it just kind of faded off as I went into teenage years. But there's one story, and this is where the time travel part comes in. So I would like to touch on that, unless you got any other questions.
No. If you're leading us down time travel, I will shut everything up for time travel. It's my number one A topic that I love.
Right. Okay. I mean, just bear in mind, I'm not trying to sell any books. I'm not trying to sell any info. I'm just telling it at the moment, as that child, remember, as those child's experience or my experience as a child. You know, like I said earlier, I have a high level of discernment, so I won't just believe anything I see or hear or experience. I do filter things. Right, so now you have some of the story. As a child, I'm like a kind of super psychic child with these strange abilities, helping this government chap with his projects, imagining circles for him, etc., etc. Going back to the out-of-body experience, one particular evening, something appeared in my bedroom, and I can only describe it as a portal. This round, so I had a fairly small bedroom, and my window overlooked the garden. So it appeared in between me, the window, and the garden. this round purplish circle thing just kind of swirling around. And I thought that, and I assume I was out of body. I don't know for sure, but I assume I was out of body when I saw it. And the thing that fascinated, obviously I found it fascinating itself because it was quite beautiful, but what fascinated me more is I could hear fireworks through it, from it. Now, as you can imagine, as a child, fireworks are quite appealing. So I could hear these fireworks through it, and I remember umming and ahhing as to whether to go through it. Somehow I knew I could go. Because the sound was coming from it, I guess I could go into it. I just kind of assumed. So lo and behold, because of the fireworks, probably if it wasn't for the fireworks, I wouldn't have gone through it, but I went into this strange portal thing. Now, on its own, that's not enough for me to believe it was a real event. Now, what happens afterwards is where it gets interesting. I go through this portal, and I find myself at the other end in a kind of town square. In this town square is a department store. In that department store is an escalator. So that's the first thing I see. So I walk into this department store, and I go up the escalator, and this was in about, so when this experience would have happened, it would have been about 1980, let's say. I go up the escalator, and in front of me, bear in mind this is 1980, is a console with a Game Boy on it. I go up to the Game Boy console, and I start playing on it. Now, the Game Boy hadn't been invented yet. This is how I know. You see where I'm going? Hadn't been invented yet. So I'm playing on a thing that hasn't even been invented yet. I think we had, not even the ZX81 was out, which is one of the first personal computers. So this is way before personal computing. So I play on this game station. I'm fascinated by it. I go back down the escalator, cross the road, and across the other side of the road is a train station. I walk to the train station, I sit on a bench in the train station, and I hear fireworks. I then get off the seat and I get onto a train. And then it just ends. That's all I can remember is the experience. So when I come out of it and when I wake up and come round, I remember actually thinking if I could invent the Game Boy. I remember thinking, oh, that's a really clever idea. Can I invent it? That'd be fascinating. But I knew I didn't have the know-how to be able to create such a thing. Fast forward 15 years later, I randomly get on a plane. I randomly go to a country, which is Spain. I randomly go to a town. And in that town is the exact same. I see the department store of that childhood experience.
Wow.
And I walk into this department store, but now by this time I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like it was a strange day, admittedly, but I don't know what's happening yet. It's not until I see the escalator, I go up the escalator, and at the end of the escalator is the Game Boy console, that I realize what's happening. And I'm like, oh, and I actually didn't know what to do because I didn't know if I was meant to do the same as what had happened as a child. I actually didn't. Do I break it? Do I do the same thing? I remember thinking that. And I must admit, one thing I did notice is the people were very...
Let's hold it right there. Let's hold it right there because we are going to go to break, and this is a good place to go to break on a little bit of suspense. I'll tell you, Dan, Luca, time travel. Oh, yeah, we're going there. When we come back for the break right here on Spaced Out Radio. God, I love time travel. It just weirds me right out. And that's where we're going next on the Mighty SOR. Dude, that's some serious shit right there. Serious stuff.
Oh, there's more. There's more.
Oh, time travel.
This is why I'm not I never used to believe physical time travel. I still don't. I'm not 100% physical time travel is possible. I think I was out of body for sure. So as far as my own experience, conscious time travel is a real thing because I've experienced it. There's no way. There's absolutely no. It was like an overlay and the exact same thing, one over the other, the exact same day. And the only reason I trust it is because the Game Boy hadn't been invented. Yeah, it hadn't been invented. So, so I was seeing something that hadn't been invented yet, and everything was exactly the same. It was exactly the same experience, 100%.
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
It gets weirder though.
Oh, bring that woo, man. Bring that woo. I love it. Hey, Jacques, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Really do appreciate that. And Bigfoot Rob, you are way too kind again, my brother. Way too kind. Thank you so much for making that happen, man. Way too kind. Hello, luscious Lynn Wallington with the unicorn hair. Anonymous Rex, let me send it to Dave at spacedoutradio.com. I'll type it in. There you go. Send it there. Adam Hill, where you been hiding lately? How do you kill crabs in your beard? Asking for a friend. I use Mighty Moose beard oil. That's how I do it. Mighty Moose beard oil. You know? That's what I do. Boss, your ass looks huge tonight. PC Blob, thank you for coming to our chat room. Cherry Pepsi Mike, enjoy the woo, man. Enjoy the woo. You're running in sixth gear when we need you down in like third right now, man. Gary, Gary the Dutchman, you should have named it Sasquatch. Should have named it Sasquatch. I'm still gonna bug you over that, but True North works for me. True North blend. I hope it soothes the nostrils. We've got about 90 seconds, brother. My beverage of choice tonight, by the way, is orange juice with pulp. Hi, Shar. Hi, Ross. How you doing, man? Yes, orange juice with pulp tonight because I like the pulp. This is day 2 without an ice cap. Day 2 without an ice cap. And you have no idea how it's killing me right now. It's killing me. Hello, gorgeous Anita Torres. Welcome to the chat room. All right, man. We got about 30 seconds. Danny?
Okay.
And I want to remind you that a great way to support this show is hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, do us the favor and hit that subscribe button as we try to get to 15,000 listeners and subscribers by May 24th, and we can do it with your help if you don't mind, so make sure you do that. We're going to get rolling here in about 5 seconds' time, so sit back, relax, enjoy the woo. Hey, Adam. Hey, Shelley. Good to have you here. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to tell you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Dan Luca all the way from the UK today, and right before the break, he was talking about time travel, how he had this vivid experience as a child, and as an adult years later, he goes to Spain into this shopping mall type atmosphere, up an escalator, and be darned if it wasn't the exact same theme and scene that he had as a kid. Take us to that time, Dan.
So as the adult, I play on the Game Boy. I guess because that's what I did as the child, although it's the same thing really when you think about it. Went down the escalator. Like I say, there was a strangeness about the people there, as though I think that was the first time I experienced paranoia. I didn't really even know what the word was, but I was paranoid about the people around me for some reason. I don't know why. I went back down the escalator, crossed the road, went into the train station that was there, sat on the bench, and lo and behold, I heard fireworks. Got up off the bench, went onto the train, and I can't remember where I went after that. I think I went on a journey somewhere. But yeah, so that was that. And I don't think I would have trusted it as a time travel experience were it not for the Game Boy. The Game Boy was the connecting evidence that it wasn't pure coincidence, because it might have been that I experienced that as a child, but it was a dream or something like that. But the Game Boy showed me that it was an actual wormhole time travel experience. That the thing that appeared in my bedroom was the end of a wormhole. The other end of that wormhole was, for some reason, where it ended up. And it, going back to the Philadelphia experiment again, one of the questions, when I heard about the Philadelphia experiment, one of the things, as a child, you question these experiences, or I certainly did. And one of the stories I heard about the Philadelphia experiment is that as it was fading out of this reality, it was seen elsewhere at its port. And I thought, that's an interesting, why was that? Why did it appear at the port? And I asked the same question of the wormhole, of my experience. How and why did the wormhole appear in my bedroom? So I've actually got a theory for that, which is that the other end of the wormhole it's to do with the energy, your like home energy. So I can't put it any other way. So my bedroom was my base, if you like, the same as the ship appeared at port, because that's its base, that's its biggest signature, if you like. So that's when I put two and two together and realized that these two experiences have this commonality of like an energy signature. So the only way I can explain the other end of it, the wormhole, is that that's where my energy signature was in my bedroom.
Now, did you think...
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did you think you had time traveled, or were you maybe getting a glimpse into the future through some sort of futuristic deja vu?
I'd say it was... Because I went into the portal, I have to assume it was a wormhole. For that reason. So but that's not saying that deja vu isn't glimpses of the exact same thing, but maybe on a smaller, more conscious scale. So I can't see any reason why a wormhole can't enter your consciousness on a smaller scale, and then you get deja vu. Okay, that sounds plausible. And I've certainly had deja vus, but again, it's quite hard to explain whether they are. I suppose the question is, are we seeing glimpses of the future in our dreams? Because that's, one of the potential places that we can pre-see a future experience, I guess.
Oh, don't even tell me that. Like 3 weeks ago, my friend, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I had one of the worst dreams in my life where I actually, I hate water. I do. Outside of the shower or a swimming pool, I hate water. And I actually had a dream that was so vivid that it scared the daylights out of me. And it gave me literally an anxiety attack for like 4 or 5 days where I was given like a sea burial. And I was thrown in the water. I know it was a lake. I know it was fresh water. And I recall my eyes being open, my soul in my body, and I'm watching myself sink as the light from above the water gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and I'm trying to kick my legs and kick my arms and, trying to swim to the top to breathe, and then I'm like, you can't do that. You're dead. You're dead, man. Like, and then I started thinking, like, why am I in my body, man? Like, isn't the soul supposed to move? And I recall feeling my back hitting the ground, my final resting place. And here I am staring up at this light. And I'm hoping, man, that isn't something that is a precursor. Really hoping, because that one scared me. I'm not going to lie, Dan. That one scared me. Because my soul didn't leave the body.
It's funny. I mean, that's that. Yeah, I hope so too. For your sake, that doesn't manifest. But the whole realm of dreams, we know so little about it, and the hardest thing to verify with regards to dreams is whether they're meanderings of the mind. What you've done during the day and how you can solve solutions and puzzles or work problems. And I think that does happen. So I think there are different levels of dreams. The one level being symbolic, in other words, you'll see symbols. So losing your teeth would be a sign of insecurity, and so kind of inner workings, if you like. But I've had many dreams where I'm not convinced I could conjure up that domain. The things that happen seem so meaningful, and I've seen patterns in dreams where like, for example, like a circuit. I've been in dreams involved where there's a circuit of people doing their own particular thing, and I've come along and I've disrupted the circuit, and they start, the characters start reacting a certain way, and so I do see patterns in dreams, and I wish I knew more about what we're tapping into when we enter these dream worlds, because it's a mystery, but at the same time it's meaningful.
Well, it could be. It could be. So, do you think you walked into a portal then as a child to watch that? And did you see
Yes.
were you living this in first person, or did you see yourself actually doing this?
Yes. Yeah, through my eyes, as though I was in body, but I'm not. I don't think I was in body, because I'd have had to climb on the windowsill. I'm just not convinced I was in body. It doesn't seem possible for me if I was in physical body. I think because of the likelihood that and the occurrences of my out of body experiences, I'm more convinced that it was a non-physical thing. And yes, it was a portal, I believe, because I heard the fireworks through it. So the sound traveled through it. So yes, I think it was a portal. It was a wormhole, in other words. Absolutely.
Was this the first time this had happened, and has it happened again?
No, but later on in life, I have had many experiences of retrospective causality. So that is kind of like a time anomaly, if you might say. But a time travel experience, no, that was the first and only time.
Wow.
And the biggest question I had was, had things already happened 15 years ahead when I was a child? Did those things already happen? In other words, I'm talking about causality and free will and all those kind of things. And it's a question I can't really answer, to be honest. But I did wonder how, had everything already played out when I was 8 or 9 years old? It's a strange thing to ask, a difficult question to ask, really.
Do you recall your first paranormal experience?
I think it would have to be the out of body seeing those strange creatures in my hallway. I think that definitely that. Earlier than that, no. Although there was at about the same age, and this will lead me into the other phenomena I'd like to share. At the same age, I had an experience where I was walking home from school, and about 100 meters from my house, and I suddenly left my body instantaneously and went straight up into the clouds. And this is where it gets strange. I'm suddenly not myself, and I'm conversing with someone else about this life of mine. And the person is asking about the life, and he's asked if he wants to see a review of it, and it's as though someone's with a guide or something. So they're having a conversation, and then suddenly I jumped back into my body. But the strange thing was I wasn't me. I was this person that was talking to this guide in the sky. That's the only way I can explain it. So I remember trying to walk into my house, but I didn't know where I lived. I remember thinking, do I live? Is it here? Is it this door? I don't know. And I literally couldn't remember where I lived in that instant. And I had a new set of memories of this person that I presume had passed away or something. And that was my first experience of what I've later found out to be called a walk-in. So yes, that was the other early paranormal experience.
Did you ever figure out why you all of a sudden left your body walking home from school?
No idea so it was instantaneous. Bam. Straight up, straight out. I wish I knew what happened to my body whilst... See, I don't know how long that process went on for, whether I was just standing still. But when I came back into my body, I was in the same place and hadn't moved. So it could have been in the blink of an eye. It could have been 5 minutes. I don't know. But like I say, when that person that was talking to this other person up there somewhere came back in, I had a new set of memories. Now, the interesting thing is I didn't know who that person was, really. I know it still felt like me, but I didn't really know who they were until one day I went shopping with my mother, and I saw a poster of someone in a music shop, and I looked. I was about 8 years old at this time. I looked at this picture of this person, and my jaw dropped, and I went, "This is exactly what that's clever." I thought to myself, "That's clever. That's me." And I just kind of was in this kind of position of awe as I saw. The reason I said that's clever, I think, was to do with the continuity. I don't know. That's what I said to myself. That's clever. I saw the picture. I was like, that's them. I instantly knew that was the person that had walked into me.
I got to ask you, Have you ever, in any of those occurrences where you've kind of left your body or went astral traveling or time traveled in that type of way, have you ever ran into yourself?
No, not that I'm aware of. No, but again, with this individual that I witnessed, I had memories of that I couldn't explain that came with this walk-in. That I didn't feel it, and it wasn't until I'd rather not say who it was, but it was a musician, and when I read a little bit about their story, all these snippets of memory verified that it was the same person because they matched the memories I had with me, if that makes sense. Now, I don't know if that person's an extension of me or part of the same soul group. I don't even know why they entered my body. I have no idea whatsoever. But the only thing I can presume is I believe in a thing called soul groups. So I believe there's a possibility I'm part of the same soul group of this person. Because I'll down the line as I share more of the story I'd like to share, you'll understand what I mean by soul groups, because I have a lot of memories going back and back and back and back and back and back. And part of the reason why I have some of these memories is to do with this individual that entered my body. Now, one of the memories I have of that individual is he was in a hammock one evening. I'm not sure if it was on a beach or near the coast somewhere. He was in a hammock and the Holy Spirit entered him. That's the only thing I can describe it, the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost. And he knew, it's a really clear memory, and he knew it was entering in him. He knew it was coming. And when it hit him, like a thump in the chest, it came with memories. A lot. It's like a download. And for some reason, those memories got absorbed by my own memories as well. So I remember that experience. I remember many of his experiences. I remember his passing away, or before his passing away, saying goodbye to his wife, all these things. But that was the other thing I need to mention because it becomes relevant later. And so as a result, I have a memory that goes back all the way to the Big Bang and before. And I'm not joking. I know some people are going to find that unbelievable. And I don't know why I have those memories, but I need to share them because I have them and they feel like real memories. And that's the big woo-woo that I'd like to share. And I know it's strange to the listeners, and I know that you're like thinking, oh, my God, seriously? But they feel so genuine and real that I have to tell the story of what happened and why it happened. And that's what I'd like to do today as well as the other paranormal stuff that there's plenty to share about. Because for me, it's a big deal. It really is. And I think I'd like to hope that it will help people understand why there's been no divine intervention in this world and why we're in the kind of mess we are. I think it will help add insight to that. But I honestly believe that these memories I have that go through various incarnations of this universe, because this isn't the first incarnation. I don't know if you know much about Hinduism, but there are different incarnations, different yugas, where the universe goes back to a singularity and then starts up again. But the singularity part is where I'd like to talk about and why it happened, how it happened, and before that even, the fall and things like this. So there's genuine. I believe these memories to be true. Now I know you guys don't know me, your listeners, yourself, but I wholeheartedly believe these memories to be genuine and real and part of the soul group that I'm attached to. 100%. I've no doubt. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sharing them now if I didn't think they were genuine. So that's the big woo-woo that I'd love to share with you more.
Well, we got 4.5 minutes. We can start that woo right now. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so to be able to explain what happened at the Big Bang, I have to explain these snippets of memory. Some of them aren't entire, and some of them are longer than others. So I'm going to rewind all the way back to before what caused the Big Bang. Okay. Now, I'm lucky enough to have a few seconds of memory of. See, this is really hard to. It's really. Because I don't want people to think, oh my God, he's completely off the charts, I really don't. But I've a memory of what I guess we call heaven. Yeah.
Okay.
And when I say I'm just using first person to make it easier to describe the memory. I have, there's no reason for me to have ego regarding these things. I don't think these things are necessarily me, but for some reason I have the memories, and I can't fully explain why. So I have a memory of one of the, I guess you'd call them angels. One of the angels, a few of them are suspicious of the deity. I'm just going to refer to them as a deity because I don't want to use the term God. But the deity is not themselves. The deity was not themselves, and they're frantically going crazy as to why the deity is not themselves. Something's wrong. Something's drastically wrong with the deity. This is I need to emphasize that. I can't emphasize enough. And that they're all starting to agree on it, that the deity is not themselves. And they can't understand why, but something's wrong. And that's when they decide to leave. So I know there might be Christians out there might be a biblical aspect, but that's the part of the memory. They decide to leave because the deity is not themselves. And they leave and they reestablish another realm. Now, the main deity, who I believe is the same deity that is related to Jesus. So there's a particular deities, because I'm good with energy signatures, I can kind of tangibly feel energy signatures. It's hard to describe. The main deity that left was the same deity that I believe is Jesus. They form another realm, and it's like another heaven, if you like. Mm-hmm. And everything's going fine and dandy until there's this one person in this realm who's starting to cause trouble, starting to cause paranoia, starting to cause issues. It's getting everyone's heckles up. So they decide collectively to boot this guy out into deep space. And that's the only way I can describe it, is deep space. And deep space, which is a strange thing in itself. I can't explain it. It can't be explained. Outside of this universe is this thing called deep space. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So they boot this individual out into deep space, problem solved. Now, the same individual that led collectively to leave the first heaven was curious by nature. So one of the things they used to do is sit on the edge of this realm and listen out for voices. Yeah? And this particular individual was very curious about who his maker was, trying to find his maker. That was one of the reasons why he listened to deep space, for his maker. One day he starts to hear a voice, and it meets the characteristics of the type of individual, the type of deity he's looking for. So he decides to go and investigate it. I'm not sure if he does that individually or as part of a group. He decides to go and investigate it. He arrives at the spot where this benevolent voice is coming from, or where he thinks is a benevolent spot. He arrives at the spot and he can't see it. And he's asking the communication, "Where are you? I can't see you." And they say, "We're here." And he looks down, and it's a tiny, tiny space. And I'm going to explain. It's a tiny, tiny space. And I leave it there because the tiny space becomes very relevant, and the story will hopefully fit together and help you understand what exactly happened.
Well, the good part about it is we have an entire half hour in the next segment for you to explain what the heck is going on in going back and seeing all of these timelines that you have lived on right back to the Big Bang Theory. And you can recall that, as woo as it sounds, sometimes we have to hear this in order to try and learn that these weird spirits or entities on the other side can take us wherever they want us to go and let us see what they want us to see. Dan Luca is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Hour number 2 coming up next. All right, my friend. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay? Your mic's on mute.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
I'll be right
I'm
back.
just saying this is really hard to talk about. It's out there.
Oh, dude, we're going to get out there. I want to hear this, man. It's good stuff. I'll be right back.
Like I say, they feel like such genuine memories that I have to share them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Be right back.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life improvement.
All right, I'm back, my friend. We've got just over 90 seconds. Hey, Sinzabil, how you doing? John Doe, good to have you here. All right, we got 1 minute. 1 minute, John. Or Dan, sorry.
Okay, yeah, good.
KJ Hawken, welcome to our chat room for the first time. Thank you for joining us. Justin Goodearth, good to have you here. I think Justin, the other Justin's here too, so that's kind of cool. All right, big thank you to Jacques and to Bigfoot Rob for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much for supporting us on this show, and thank you to everybody who's new tuning on in. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget, if you're brand new, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to add you to the list and ring that bell so you know when our shows are coming. Here we go in 4 seconds.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you taking the time to tune us on in. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Fantasticate. Fantasticate is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Dan Luca, joining us all the way from the United Kingdom about his strange stories about recalling past lives. And right before the break, we were talking about these, almost like these wormholes he'd been traveling through, with an amazing experience, taking him right on back. Dan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, good to be back. Now, just before I start again, I'm not religious in the slightest. I do read certain excerpts of the Bible now and again, but I'm not religious. However, these memories are first-person memories, as though they are my own, as though you were experiencing them as yourself. One other thing I failed to mention is, in addition to this walking experience that I had, I do have a lot of past life memory as well. So I can remember about 10 past lifetimes, not just as a human, but also animal life as well. And again, these are first person memories that, I've not gone to see anyone to try and put me in a hypnosis or anything. Some of them are just mundane lives, not particularly successful. Some are better than others, but again, so I've got a lot of past life memory as well. But these pre-Big Bang memories, they feel very real and experiential. So yes, but I really, it is hard to share because they are so out there, literally. But I believe them to be real, absolutely, 100% real. And I can't emphasize that enough.
No, and I don't blame you. I mean, you have to be able to go with what you experience, and you're the one who's experiencing it. How many lifetimes do you recall?
I did a number count a while ago. It's about 10.
Right through time.
No, it's more. See, it's hard because I'm entangled with these other memories, so it's hard to tell which are mine, which are revisitations. Because one thing I'm aware of is that during death, I was often offered the opportunity to, I think they call it the Akashic Records. I'm assuming that's what it is. But I'm offered the opportunity to recall certain lives, whether they're my lives or not, I don't know. So that can muddle things a little bit as to which ones are mine and which are not with regards to past life ones. So some of the I can kind of tell which ones are my lives and which were maybe revisitations. For example, I remember being a Frenchman, an Indian. There's a guy called Carlos Castaneda, which I have memories of as well, and I don't understand why. But I've got a whole trail of his memories. I can't explain why. I remember, this isn't going to sound very nice, but I remember committing suicide when I was American in one lifetime. Another lifetime, I remember. At the signing of the Declaration, there was a stranger who persuaded them to sign the Declaration. I have memory of him. I can't explain why, but I have memories of it.
Have you ever talked to your own spirit guides or any other ethereal beings about what this is all about, what this means?
I haven't, no, because to me that would be no, I haven't. All that you see, I did practice a meditation for 20 years, and in itself that was a language in itself, and I guess I had certain answers through that. One of the answers I had was that there's a language that exists out there that flows in and out of everything in nature that is connected to love, is a language of love. And it encompasses many things like exploration, desire, curiosity, holiness, holy moments. It's hard to explain, I hope, but there are many things that are holy in this life that we should be protecting. Freedom is an essential part of that, because without freedom, you can't evolve as a human being. And that's what's being inhibited at the moment. And that's really tragic.
Oh, that would be a whole different length of shows right there, my friend. Be a whole different length of shows. If I can certainly touch on the meditation I discovered was very, very powerful indeed. But I'd like to come back to the where we're finished off at the last segment. Go right ahead.
So this individual, whom I believe is the same spirit as Jesus, and like I said, I'm not religious. I'm not trying to push any agenda here. I'm just telling it as recalling it, as the memory is. They arrive at the spot where the communication took place, and they basically said, "Yeah, I'm here." And he says, "Where are you?" And the space he's looking at is a tiny space, and they say, "Come in." And he's like, "You sure?" And, "Yeah, come in." So he enters the space. This is where it gets interesting. He enters the space, and he realizes it's not everything as it should be. It's tangibly, the only way I can describe it, he experiences it is tangibly icky, tangibly yuck. Is the only way I can explain. And so or evil could be the same thing, basically evil. And upon realizing that, he decides to, the only way I can describe it, he decides to explode. To get out of it, or just, he decides to explode. Now, one of the things I couldn't understand with regards to the Big Bang Theory, because I've tried to piece this together in my own time, is, in my opinion, something doesn't just come from nothing. So one of the things the physicists say is it's just Big Bang. They're right in that it came from an infinitesimal small space, but something doesn't come from nothing. Now, I was fortunate enough to have a friend who worked with Buckminster Fuller. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He worked on something called the buckyball. Quite a genius of a physicist. And I remember asking my friend about this problem. how can you have something coming from nothing? And I said to him, look, what if it was an inverse space that we're talking about? And then he said, well, yeah, that's possible. If you've got higher dimensions going into lower dimensions, the lower dimensions have to balance out. And each dimension that drops, they have to give off energy. You get, to create balance. So that's when it started to make sense what exactly happened. So my theory as to the Big Bang is that a higher dimensional being entered an inverse dimensional space. Now, for there to be balance, now if you look at our reality, everything's about balance, whether you've got molecules balance, elements balance. If they imbalance, you get a phenomena and they have to balance again. So you have electrons or photons being released until you get balance again. So if you imagine that in terms of dimensions, you've got, let's say, for argument's sake, you've got a plus 6 dimensional being or going into a minus 6 dimensional space. It was an inverse space. I'm convinced of that now. Then as the dimensions collapse, so your fifth dimension collapses, minus 6 collapses to minus 5, there's a release of energy. Minus 4 again, plus 4, a release of energy. That's where you get the energy from the Big Bang. That's how it happened. And I'll put that to any physicist out there. The Big Bang happened because a higher dimensional being entered an inverse space. Now, how did that inverse space come about? That's the other big question. There was a voice emanating from that inverse space, and I believe that voice that met the same characteristics that individual that entered it was looking for was the person who had left the first domain, the first realm, the first heaven. So I truly believe, this is a hypothesis, but I believe it to be a strong hypothesis, is that God or the deity that was in that first heaven projected into a mirror, projected themselves into, it's hard to explain, into an inverse space, basically. So by looking into a mirror, maybe they projected into a mirror, that would have created an inverse space. If that happened, the person that they recognized would have left their body, and the person from the inverse, the deity from the inverse space, would have entered the person that had left. There was an exchange. So the exchange, so basically, his deity that he was looking for was in an inverse space, in an inverse realm of essentially evil. And the reason for its size is because it was inverse. It was an inverse universe, literally. Does that make sense so far?
Kind of does. It kind of does.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm struggling with it, but I'm trying to get it. It did start from the Big Bang, but there was something before it as well. You know, that's important to emphasize. There was something before the Big Bang, but we exist in a universe. Outside of that universe is deep space that goes on, as far as I know, forever. Right.
But if you want to know why there's not been any divine intervention, why people say God, why? Because I believe God is in this universe. You know, I have to, from that memory, I have to believe that the reason that the first angels left is because the deity that knew wasn't their deity. It was an inverse deity from the inverse space where an exchange took place. Yeah.
Okay. So how clear are these concepts to you? Like, can you recall them clear as day, or are they just little snippets that you get?
The furthest back, which is when they leave the first realm because something's wrong, is a snippet.
Okay.
The entering the minuscule inverse space is really clear, and the panic, the tangible panic of, what the hell's going on? Damn, this is horrible. Bam. And the same entity that entered that inverse space has also been through several singularities. So that was the first yuga, if you like. But I recall the same, and along those lines, I recall that person talking to. Okay, so in one of the memories, they're actually talking to an AI cube after a singularity. So it seems that this universe singularity has happened at least two times, maybe three.
Okay.
But that we're absolutely, according to this memory, we're absolutely existing in another space. So the universe is held in deep space, and deep space, as far as I know, it goes on forever.
Which
and
is scientifically proven. They don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, they don't know where the end of space is.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly not within this universe because we're held in space. Like, imagine deep space is the ocean, and we're a ball in the ocean, basically.
Yeah, and there's sharks out there.
I actually had not quite an out of body experience, but an astral experience when I was hovering between sleep and wakefulness. And I remember projecting out as far as I can, right? Just kept going and going and going until I hit a membrane. And then on the other side of those membrane was I passed through this membrane, and I believe it was a two-dimensional membrane. And then on the other side were just polka dots, just lit like dots spaced in polka dots. I can't explain why, but I believe the skin of this universe might well be a two-dimensional skin. Honestly.
Let me ask you this, and this was brought up due to Pedro in our chat room. Do you think what we're doing right now is living in parallel realities?
I have a memory of 2012 endings, so there's parallel timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Parallel realities. It's hard to. I'm not quite sure what you mean by parallel realities.
Well, let's go down the timelines, because a lot of other people have seen timelines, and I happen to have a question in regards to like ghosts and paranormal experiences, where I'm really starting to wonder whether or not there are really ghosts out there, that there are ghosts out there, but they're on a different timeline, and they're not dead where they are. They're showing up in our timeline as ghosts, but maybe we're showing up as ghosts in their timeline.
Right. Well, depending on your level of energy or your frequency, you will see different things. So if you see, you'll hallucinate often on a higher vibration, even on a lower vibration, you'll see different things. So yeah, there are things even in your own room that are there that you wouldn't see unless you're in a different state of being. Whether that can be classed as layers of realities. I suppose you could say, yeah, there's like we live in an onion and it's layered. Yeah, quite possibly. How we escape that onion is another question, but I don't know. It reminds me of. So I was just thinking of The Matrix there, where that film, The Matrix. There's a line in there that comes to mind. I've got it here. The Architect, where the architect. You remember when Neo goes into the room and he meets the architect?
Yes.
And the architect says to him, "Your life is the sum of a remainder of an imbalanced equation inherent to the program in the Matrix." Now, that analogy sounds like the person who entered the Matrix, or the inverse space, is the Neo, if you like. He's the imbalance, if you wouldn't call it that.
Okay, so for you traveling through and learning all of these different timelines that you have been able to figure out or see, thanks to an entity who took you there, do you believe then in the idea of reincarnation?
I think that's all everyone's been doing, because we're in a universe, so we've been incarnated in the same universe, be it Earth or other places, since that first Big Bang.
So where do the souls go, in your opinion, when they leave here? They don't immediately turn around.
They get recycled. They get recycled, and I've a recollection of going through the process. I don't. I mean, this is a very sensitive topic, and unfortunately, I think that there are mechanisms in place to ensure that you've got more work to do, business, you've more work to do, you need to go back and things like that. I think this isn't a reality of density, and there are kings of this domain that thrive on its density. So in their interests, by keeping us here, they're able to use us as fuel. Now, in other words, we're living in a parasitical system that feeds off of all the trauma, all the fear, all the death, the wars, the lies, and that's because there are kings of this dominion and this dominion is hard. I don't even know if entities outside of this universe can enter it. I don't even know if they can. And even if they could, I don't know if they would expose themselves to the ickiness of this density. And I'm sorry to say it, but when you've got things like plastics, for those of you who've ever been out of body, try touching plastic. It's disgusting. It's so low in vibration. It's like hitting a brick wall. So in terms of the spiritual entering this world, I think it's very tough for them to help out in that department. And it's not until we collectivize and understand our power and tap into our power that in other words, we need to become like tribes, gather with like minds, become like a tribe. And, basically this reality is like a dream. And it's not a dream. I wouldn't say it's a dream, but it's like a dream in that we can manifest things when we realize that it is kind of like a dream. We're being conned to accept it as an actual, literal reality, whereas it's flexible, it's layered. You can move out of it, but to do that takes power.
So with 2 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour, Dan Luca is our guest. Dan, what does plastic feel like when you're out of body? I need to know.
Oh, in fact, I am a bit of a conspiracy theorist as well, and I'd say that that's the reason why plastics are pushed on us, is because they're so low in vibration. It's like when you touch something, you absorb some of its frequency, and plastic is the lowest of the low in terms of frequency. Every time you touch it, you're kind of low. It's not good. And out of body, it's even worse. When you touch it out of body, you realize you just drop. It's like it's horrid, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't even be here. We shouldn't even be having it. It's a terrible thing. But yeah, brick would be another one. Anything like brick is like it's there's a lot where we shouldn't be doing that we are doing, and I wish people would understand that there's so much more to discover. I went on a journey of discovery for over 20 years, tapping into the unseen. And there's so much that we can learn if we trust in each other and trust that we have a power that's untapped and unrealized that the ancients knew about. They knew fully well about this magic. It's kind of magic, yeah.
Interesting. My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because when we come back from the break at the bottom of the hour, I want to get into aliens and UFOs with you, because I know you've had a number of experiences that way, and I'm curious to see what path you're going to take us down when we get into those creatures coming from space. That's all I got to say, because it's going to be interesting. So far, an interesting and great conversation tonight with Dan Luca, paranormal experiencer. Yeah. Do you know your lifetimes? Do you know how many times you've been here? Let us know. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right. That time of night, people, where I have to tell you, hey, New York Anthony, how you doing? Hey, Gnome Squatch. I have to tell you that my beard is feeling like it needs a little Mighty Moose beard oil, because it is that time of the night again. Mighty Moose beard, I'm using the winter blend here. Just drop it into the old hands there. Rub it on in. You know, give a little rub-a-dub-dub into the bearded tub. That's it, man. That's how we do it. Mighty Moose beard, Gary the Dutchman. You know, Dutchmen don't usually give you a deal on anything. But if you buy the Mighty Moose beard oil, Gary the Dutchman is going to give you $1 off if you use promo code SOR2019. It's great for split ends because it's all natural. Great for your hair. Helps cure the split ends. Keeps your hair nice and manageable. Keeps the beard shiny and flowing. Yeah, man, this is how we do it. This is how we take care of this bearded wonder right here. MightyMooseBeard.com. Gary the Dutchman is there waiting to take your order. He's got a couple recently out of us, so it is good. It is very good. Check it on out. Ladies, you can also put this in your hair. It's all natural. All right? It is all, excuse me. Got my nose is a little stuffy. It's all natural, no chemicals. Great for your hair. Great for your beard. I don't know about your leg hair, but if you want to try it there, what the hell? You be you. So that's it. That's all I got. MightyMooseBeard.com. Say hi to Gary the Dutchman. Go check it on out. Yes, I am withdrawing from caffeine. Yes, withdrawing from caffeine. Actually, this one, the winter blend, smells really nice. It really does. It's like pepperminty. You're welcome, Gary the Dutchman. It is on our website, and just go to MightyMooseBeard.com. Corrence, the booking guy, has typed it up above. And when you place your order, just let Gary the Dutchman know you're using promo code SOR2019. And go there. Cherie, why am I off? Because I've gained a lot of weight. And I'm cutting it out, cleansing my system. And it's day 2 today. Day 2. And I've got a killer headache. But it's good. It's good. No, man, Gary, I was drinking probably 2 to 3 ice caps a day. 2 to 3 ice caps. Those are heavy into the calories. You know? I'm afraid to shave off my beard now because my face is probably going to fall out. I'm going to have these big chipmunk cheeks that like hang down to here, man. Totally. Dan, we got just over 90 seconds. Hey, Aaron, how are you? Welcome to the show. What's an ice cap? It is heaven. It is... Imagine having a Slurpee as a cappuccino. I'm bringing myself off the caffeine. That's what I'm doing. Yes, Alaska's greatest athlete. Next time you travel over to Whitehorse, go to Tim Hortons and order an ice cap. You will be thankful. You will love me forever for introducing that into your life. Right, we got about 40 seconds. Hello, gorgeous and talented Jessica McCreary. Big thank you to Mike Walden, Jacques, and Bigfoot Rob for the super chats. Big thank you to everyone who's given us a thumbs up and down so far tonight. And, of course, our new subscribers, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new. Here we go, everyone, as we are going to get going with the next half hour in 5 seconds. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Dave Scott is my name. Talking the Woo is my game. And I'm glad you are here to join us. Hey, Derek on Twitter, about time you arrived. Lots of woo here, my friend. Lots of beautiful, plentiful woo with our guest, Dan Luca, tonight. Before we bring Dan on, I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Dan Luca, and we're going to get into some UFOs, aliens as such, as Dan is an experiencer of a lot of really cool, weird things that's happened to him in his life, and it's put him on a journey of a lifetime trying to solve his own personal mysteries. Dan, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. Good to be back.
When did the aliens arrive?
When did the aliens? Well, the main experience I had with the aliens was as a child. Like I said, I presume they were aliens. I don't know what they were. These thin, spindly, translucent things. After that, there was an occurrence when I was in Bournemouth. It was in about my 20s. And I was on the beach chatting to some friends. I was in a very, very heightened state of energy, if you like. So much so that I was feeling quite uncomfortable. And I remember recollecting that where people were standing was relevant because it kind of eased my discomfort, like channeling the energy that was pushing out. So you could say I was having a kind of Kundalini experience at the time, for those that are familiar with it. And I looked behind me over the sea, and a light started to appear. Just started going from right to left. It's like, that's a bit strange. And then I saw another light slightly behind it, following it. And then another one, and they were started to form a circle. And then another one. So these lights started to blink in and kind of rotate slowly, and then there quite a few of them appeared in formation, and the cynical part of me thought that this was about 3 a.m. in the morning, and the cynical part of me for some reason dismissed it and thought that it was a helicopter display show. I don't know why I thought that, but whether I was high or something, I don't know, but I just dismissed it as a helicopter display at 3 a.m. But it was only later on I found out it exactly matched what the people in Phoenix, Arizona, the Phoenix, Arizona lights. When I saw a video of that, I was like, that's it. That's exactly the same thing that I saw.
Was it as big?
So, the what, sorry?
Was it as big as Phoenix?
It appears to be. Yeah, it was a big circle it was forming. Like I say, going from as I was looking at it, going from right to left, rotating clockwise.
So
since then, I've seen UFOs here and there, but that was the main incident.
What were you feeling? What were you feeling when you saw that giant craft in the sky? Maybe it was many, maybe it was just one.
I wish I'd looked closer. I don't know why I dismissed it so easily. I wish I had looked closer. I guess I didn't really know about UFOs then. This is back in back the year 2000 roughly. So I didn't really even know what UFOs were. So I couldn't make the connection. But a part of me wonders if it's related to my state of energy at the time, because it was off the charts. You know, I was really, like I say, I was uncomfortable because I was so energized, and who was around me and how they were positioned geometrically actually affected my comfort level. That's how bad it was, you know. So maybe, and I have heard other people say that when they're in a heightened state of awareness, that's when they've seen UFOs. So it might be relevant to the consciousness, the level of consciousness. I don't know. Just a hypothetical I'm putting out there, but it's quite possible.
Did you ever have any face-to-face contact with extraterrestrials?
No, but when I close my eyes, I see images of greys. They're the same shape as a grey face. That's only when I close my eyes, and I see them so often. I don't know whether that's just a phenomenon of the eyelid or something, but I do see images of entities when I close my eyes, but not face to face. No, I have a memory of an entangled memory of an alien that had crash landed. I said I used to tap into people's minds and listen out and be able to tap into psychically to experiences. So I have a memory of an alien being captured and being wheeled along a corridor. That's where it ends. That's just a snippet. But in terms of alien encounters, surprisingly, no. And I say surprisingly, not direct, because I've had so many paranormal experiences from my meditations that I'm quite surprised I haven't had any direct encounters. I haven't been abducted. I haven't had any visitation since a child, and it does surprise me. It does surprise me, but no, I haven't. They tend to steer clear of me. But what I have noticed is in heightened states of awareness that reality gets really strange. Reality does skew, and you start to see certain figures come into play that are more hostile than your day to day. For example, I've been in heightened states of awareness through airport security checkpoints, and that is very sinister. It's like a hive. They collect energy there. Every time you go through airport security, they're collecting energy. It's like a hive. And they base, as soon as you go through passport checkpoint, it's like a hive, draining you of energy. See, every time someone steps through one of these things, they're in fear mode, yeah? And they release energy. Not even knowing, it's subconscious probably. They release energy. And I've tried this, I've actually experimented with this. I'm sorry I'm going slightly off topic, but I've experimented with doing something slightly out of the ordinary in those scenarios, energetically. As soon as you do something slightly out of the ordinary, they pick up on it straight away. It can be, and I don't mean just like throwing your hands up in the air and screaming like a banshee. I mean, it's subtle. It's so subtle, and they can detect it. Especially if you're not releasing energy as per every other individual. It's hard to describe. And that that's one example. Every time I've encountered, I'm going to say this, this is going to be tough, but on record, I'm going to say that most policemen are energy vamps, are energy parasites. I've been arrested several times, and the way they maneuver you, put your arms around the neck and push your arms up, they're looking for an exertion of chi. They're waiting for you to exert chi, to release chi, and they suck it up like a viper. They suck up that energy. They're energy vamps, and I've been through enough experiences. You remember I told you earlier that I don't trust the first experience. I have to have experienced something several times. So I've been in that scenario, and time and time again, They even know where the energy is coming from, so they know where it's going to be released because they've done it so many times. But I'm sorry to say, yes, in the small print, there are good cops out there, but for the most part, they're energy vampires. And
yeah, but so are most. That's an easy blanket though, because there's so many people out there that are energy vampires. I could throw in my ex-wife, my ex-mother-in-law, former friends of mine who dumped me after I had my awakening. You know, I mean, people who create drama, the Black Cloud gang that always has everything wrong with them. So to blame just one group of people, I highly doubt that it's just them, my friend.
I'm not portioning blame. I'm just saying that's one example effectively.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you'll see other examples. You'll see it in the workplace with a boss, and it's like whenever you encounter an experience where they press and press and press until you kind of give that sigh, or you feel yourself. People need to be conscious of when they're giving energy to people, when they're giving it away, especially in a submission type thing. You know, I believe even businesses are probably set up to be a hive. You know, you've got your worker, he reports to his supervisor in a form of submission. You know, they're submissive to the supervisor is submissive to his manager, and submission is a flow of energy. The manager is submissive to the director to the CEO. And of course, for those that have mixed in higher circles, excuse my voice is breaking. For those that have mixed in higher circles, you'll know that the energy is very prevalent and very tangible, you know? So this stuff, what was it in Dune? What did they call it in Dune? They had a name for it. And there was that film that was released not long. Oh, God, I can't remember that. But it's life force energy. And as from what I've seen and from what I've read and experienced, this reality is set up to siphon life force energy out of people.
So let's go down that road. Where do you think that is coming from? Is it coming from a deity, like what people would say is the devil? Is it coming from humanity shifting into becoming more of an introverted society? Where do you think it's coming from?
Okay, this goes back to the inverse space. So understand that the space we're in, those that are in control of it, the kings of this dominion, are entities that feed off of inverse energy, inverse life force. So a mind should be expanding, not contracting. So the name of the game is to force your mind to contract, because when your mind's contracting, you're giving more energy, you see. So this is why we see mechanisms of fear and submission and loss of freedom, is to contract the mind. So you understand that reality is about contractive energy, micro. So every time you're looking at your phone, every time you shop for a pair of shoes, your mind is going to micro. It's collapsing. It needs to be expanding. And every time you find yourself, your mind contracting, that's an example of releasing of energy, releasing of life force. When you listen to Pink Floyd, your mind is expanding.
Amen. Long live Pink Floyd, man.
That's what's fueling the system. So that's why. So if you understand the mechanisms, you look at what's going on, understand that it's to create contraction energy, collapse. Because as long as the reality's in collapse mode, it can't be interfered with in a way. It's like a protection thing as well. So not only are they getting the energy from us, but it's also making it harder for other entities maybe to come in and help, you see.
All right. So how do you practice your mind expansion in order to understand all of this?
That's a good question. One of the main things to understand is not to break the process of expansion of mind. Every time you break the process of expansion of mind, you're devolving as opposed to evolving. So look at the things that expand your mind, literally. And those are things like, these are key elements that are associated with exploration, for example. This is a mind expansion thing. Mastery, this is a mind expansion thing. Trust, this is a mind expanding thing. Being in tune with your desires. Empathy. There's obviously love. Collectivism. Oh, when you get collectivism with the same mindset, oh, that's powerful. So powerful you can feel it. If you go to a protest where everyone has the same interests, yeah, they might be shouting and stuff, but you will feel a change in the energy. It's that stuff that is valuable. It's that stuff that the police will come along and disrupt. You see, that's another example of the police. They're not there to keep the peace in those scenarios. They're there to break the acceleration, the amplification of the collective intent of those beings. You see? So and of course we've got this coronavirus stuff. This is a great strategy for keeping people fearful of one another, keeping people not collectivizing, keeping people not communicating. And so yeah, this is a battle. We're in a battle. And the battle is to learn to get out of it. We need to be able to learn to get out of this and don't think death. You can bypass death. I know because I've done it before. You can transcend death. If you amplify enough, you can transcend death. So don't think it's death and taxes and that's it. If you get this right and tap into the right power, you literally, you just skip right out of that body.
Okay, so do you have to be in an awakened, heightened sense? Like, do you have to use ayahuasca or things like that in order to get there? Or have you had enough experiences now that you know how to open up your mind?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I spent 20 years developing a meditation. I started with meditation. This is back when there wasn't much information on it. And so, I heard a little bit about it. I thought I'll give it a try. So I sat there and I managed to still a very loud mind. I mean, I couldn't believe at first how chatty my mind was. And I remember thinking, why can't I control my mind? It's such a simple thing to do. Why can't I control that talking voice? And I got bored of meditation. So I thought, well, this can't be it, surely. Surely it's not just a case of sitting there and shutting off your thoughts. So that's when I realized that it carries on. That's just the start of it. And so I developed my own meditation. There was nothing on it, whereby I would try to experience. So in this meditative state, you can feel an energization that takes place. So you feel a slight elevation, a slight expansion. And, I was thinking, well, how do I move but not break that? And so I would put on some music and I would try and kind of follow the music without breaking the trance, if you like a trance-like state or an altered state. And so I continued with that. And to cut a long story short, when I started getting really good at it, I started to notice that things would happen around me, coincidences that were in tune with what I was doing. And yeah, of course, to start with, it feels like a coincidence, but then it happens often enough and you realize, hold on, there's a connection going on here. So, for example, I would be out in a forest or something, and the tree would creak at a strangely coincidental time. Or the wind would brush my ear at a strangely coincidental time. And then so these synchronicities started to emerge as I maintained that field, and it's like a field. So if you can do the things I said earlier and not break down into a collapsive mind form, then your mind will naturally expand, which means you start to energize. As you start to energize, you become extrasensory. As you become extrasensory, it's like a exponential process. As you become more sensory, you tap into more. It's like an expansion of mind, like a tree branching out. you tap into more. And as you tap into more, you start to receive information. It's like tapping into a library. You start to receive information. You start to realize, oh my gosh, that's what our ancestors did. Oh my God, that's what a beating drum's all about. Oh my God, that's what that sound's all about. And sound starts to become much more holy. You start to realize, wow, there's information in sound. This is what I started to realize after some time, that sound has umpteen amount of information contained within it. Just one note can have a whole story. It's incredible.
I hear you. I don't think a lot of people, though, know or understand as we got about 3.5 minutes to go before we go to break here at the top of the hour. They understand how to open up their mind to expand it to the possibilities.
Yeah. And it's a process of trusting yourself. If you can trust your own intuition and desires and seek that which pleases you, that obviously doesn't cause harm to other, if you can seek that which pleases you, then the chances are you're doing the right thing. So yeah, the expression follow your heart is really true, because with that comes empowerment, and with that empowerment comes evolution. I'm basically talking about human evolution, and that is to evolve into beings of much more power. And it's hard to explain. When you experience power, you can do it comes with information. Power comes with information, if you like, in that capacity. And it's that information that can propel you further. It's like ask and ye shall receive. It's basically along those lines. But you have to ask first. It's like people who say, prove God exists to me. Well, no, you have to prove it to yourself. And through doing these things, you start to realize there's a more expansive intelligence out there that can even go back in time and affect time retrospectively. A lot of these meditations have involved retrospective causality, whereby, for example, I might be watching something or listening to a CD, and that what I'm doing in that moment comes across instantaneously, the change. And I've done it often enough to recognize that retrospective causality, that time in the moment, what we do now affects the past, which can affect the present and the future, is absolutely true, or seems to be. And there's people that talk about this. There's a group called they're talking about something called the E8 crystal, where they talk about quantum physics and how time exists all of the time. So let me put that another way. All of time exists all of the time. So you can literally do something in the now which can affect your past. Don't ask me how. It's a kind of magic. But it's true, and it's a real phenomena. And it took me 20 years to find out that what we do in the now can affect the past, to affect the present, to affect the future.
True that, but I mean, when you're opening up your mind, as we got about a minute to go here, when you're opening up your mind has places that it could take you that could be very scary too, if you're not ready for the reality.
Yeah, and sometimes the scariest part is the holiest part, when you have holy moments where you realize something is profoundly holy. It can, like I say, it can be anything, and you have a respect for the history that is behind that moment. And that's incredible when that happens. But it gives you such knowledge and knowing, and humbleness. It makes you very humble sometimes. But it's out there to be discovered. And when you discover these things, you realize there's more to life, and there is more to life. And we should never accept the mundane. That's a trick. That's a carnival show.
All right, my friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we have Dan Luca for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio when we cross over to the third hour of tonight's show. Interesting indeed, the experiences of the mind. Could you handle it? Could you go with it? Could you make it happen? Could you make it your own? That is what we are talking about here on the Mighty SOR as we continue on. Dan Luca, our guest, all the way over from the United Kingdom. Once again, we have him for another half an hour on the show. Then we are going to get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, my friend, I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, I'm just going to fix a drink. Cheers.
Yep.
And check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there. The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website.
All right, we're back. We've got about 90 seconds here, my friend.
Okay. My level's okay.
You're sounding beautiful. Sounding beautiful. A big thank you once again to our YouTube crowd, Mike and Jacques and Bigfoot Rob for the great super chats tonight. Thank you so much for your love and support of this show. Thank you to all our new subscribers and to everyone who's hit the thumbs up, thumbs down. We really appreciate the love. Thank you so much. We're going to get going here in about 10 seconds, everyone.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Fantasticate. Fantasticate is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we bring in Dan Luca, talking all things paranormal tonight. As we continue to run the gamut, we have until the bottom of the hour before we get to Captain Shirk's Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Dan, thank you so much for joining us, and good morning to you.
Yeah, it is about that time, 7 a.m. here, just gone.
It's kind of funny because, you know, you and I'm watching you on Skype and literally watching the sunrise coming in your window. As we're doing the show. That's actually kind of cool here, as it's nice and dark here in central British Columbia. But I got to ask you, in regards to the whole mind melding process that you have gone through and that you're trying to figure out with your own experiences, how has this affected you and the people around you?
Well, in the early days, it does affect the people around, or did affect the people around me, because, you know, for those that are going through a journey of discovery, people aren't always going to get you or get it or what you're trying to do, you know. So yeah, you can sort of lose friends as a result of it, and at times I did. But for the most part, you know, I had some friends that I would share some of these experiences with, and that was a great thing. I went to some ancient sites with a couple of friends, and funny thing is, this meditation that I learned translated into one of these ancient sites that I visited, and I had no idea. I kind of stumbled upon it. So it seems as though, and this ancient site that I'm referring to was Neolithic, so quite very old. So they were obviously aware of this language that I was learning as well. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, it's been tough. And when I first started out, I was breaking many paradigms of the mind, much conditioning, and there was no external help for these things, for the strangeness of mind and the discovery of a new mind. There was no internet, so I had no reference point, and a lot of it was very new. You know, when you do start to experience things for the first time that aren't or have never been explained to you, it can get scary. It can get really scary. But, you know, it's a process, it's a journey, and what doesn't break you makes you stronger, right? So, yeah.
Very true on that. Very true. How have you developed for your own intuition, with your own abilities to try and figure out what steps you take to figure out these mysteries you've gone through?
It's been a journey, and I guess I've developed into. I've taken my meditation as almost 99% of the way that I can, and I stopped at the last moment, which I believe was to punch out of this reality. And I shouldn't have stopped. I did it out of fear. You can't do that. You cannot. You know, fear is one of the biggest obstacles to progression, if you like. So I stopped, and after that I kind of stopped learning, but in a way I stopped learning from that meditation anyway. I knew where it took me, but otherwise, yeah, I'm a better person for it. I'm wiser, I'm more attuned to the conspiracies around us, if you like, but it comes with a burden as well. I won't deny that. It comes with a burden of looking around you and seeing people that are so easily led, and it's heartbreaking. You know, it really is just to look around and people who just do as they're told without questioning. So often it's like they don't question the narrative, and so that wakefulness can be a burden also. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that regard. You know,
what do you hope to accomplish by learning with your own experiences?
That's a really tough question to answer. What do I hope to accomplish? Well, to escape this reality eventually. I think that's it. I'm fed up of incarnating, and you know I'm not alone in that. But people just don't remember their previous lifetimes. But we've all been at it. We've all been reincarnating. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I'm going to escape it, but I think that has to happen. It happens. Or this treadmill, this mouse wheel going round and round it's got to end sometime, you know. And that's what I'd like to see happen. Whether mankind can evolve to that 100th monkey effect, where the change becomes, you know, instantaneous and worldwide, that's really is what needed. And I hope one day it will happen, because that will break the curse, if you like. That will break the illusion. And we are in an illusion of sorts that is set up to distract us from that which we should be doing. And I'm distracted as well. I'm not doing the things I should be doing as well. I'm at a time in my life now where, you know, I need more. And I've become isolated, and this isolation isn't helping. It's not good. And to see that everyone is going through it as well, yeah, I understand that, but it does sadden me in a way, because it's just setting things back a little bit. And you know, I know you don't like to talk about politics, but you know, it affects us. It affects us every day. Their policies affect what we do. So yeah, I'm trying still. I've learned a lot along the way, I would like to. I think I would like to start teaching this meditation for those interested eventually, because it's so powerful.
So take us through that meditation. What do you do?
It's, for those that do meditate, it's an expansion of the meditative process. So for those that meditate without, they still their mind. Once you've stilled your mind, it's a process of moving in combination with that which is in your environment, with that around you. So that's what I did for the 20 years. it's a process of not breaking the bubble, if you like. So don't break the bubble and move and respond, react to your environment. And that way you kind of enter a flow of sorts. So, for example, if put on some music that doesn't have any lyrics, listen to the sounds, and try and emulate the sounds. It's like translate, like an empathy of sorts. Empathize with the sounds and move without breaking your energization, without breaking the spell, without breaking the trance. Much of this is like trance-like. So you enter a trance, there could be a trigger, use a trigger to enter the trance, could be deep breathing, anything like that. And what I started to notice as I developed this process, call it like intuitive Tai Chi. That's a good way of putting it. So those of you familiar with Tai Chi, it's like intuitive Tai Chi. And as you empathize with the sounds around you, you start to understand the language of the sounds around you. And that starts to translate in movement. As you emulate the movement, as you move with the movement, it seems to gather energy for some reason. It seems to amplify. You go through a process of amplification. So, like I said, I started doing this, and then I started to notice that sounds would respond. And I was like, that's curious. So I carried on with it, and sounds would respond. And then one day I was brave enough, courageous enough to transmit, to question the sound. And then I got feedback. So I carried on that process. Instead of becoming the receiver, I became the transmitter as well. And then I started to get a bit more brave, and I started to put various mediums on. So I'd put a concert on, or just have TV on in the background. And then I would get synchronicity from both the sound playing on my CD or something and what was on the television. And then I went outdoors to try and put this into practice. I remember I was in Leicester Square one day, and I thought, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna try this language that I've learned. And so I started walking through the crowd. It was packed. This is Leicester Square, absolutely packed day. And I started walking through the crowd with this, using this language. And it's a language of flow, like I said. So every brush against the shoulder, I would react to it and move accordingly. Very strange. I know it sounds very strange. But, bear in mind I was testing it at the time. So I had my eyes closed and I was moving with the sound, swimming in the sound and moving accordingly, reacting accordingly. And it worked. Lo and behold, it was like falling into a womb of sound and movement, and it worked. And the last thing that happened was a hand on my shoulder by a policeman. Not my shoulder, on my chest. I had a thump in the chest, opened my eyes, and it was a policeman. But I proved to myself that this language exists, and you can see it in dance. If dance is being done correctly, it's in flow. It's in that language often. It's like you can watch someone dancing and they make a wrong move, and they've made a wrong move, even though you don't know the choreography. That's an indication of something in flow and out of flow. So there is literally this language that is out there, that in sound, that has information, that has energy, and that can affect time. So as I got deeper and deeper into this thing, it would react. So the only way, because I can't explain retrocausality in nature. So yeah, I could do this in a forest or in wilderness or something, and the wind and the creeks and the birds and the things, they would be in sync with it somehow. It's like they pick up on psychic energy. But the retrocausality can only happen with a medium that's been recorded in time. So that's why I said things happen retrospectively, if you like. So I would listen. I remember one time I was doing my meditation, and I slipped up. I fumbled, and I was listening to a concert, a live concert, a recorded live concert, and the guy playing the piano miskeyed in that instant. And I thought, that's odd. I thought the CD had jumped, so I kind of ignored it. And then I was doing, and I broke the flow again, and he miskeyed again in that instant. And again, I thought the CD had jumped. It's not until I watched the concert like years later that I realized that there was no CD skipping. He actually made an error on the key at that exact time. And the same way that when I would listen to some CD music, it would it would react to what I was doing. And I know this sounds completely mad and off the charts, but whatever I was doing was causing. I've done it enough times to know that somehow the sound was reacting in that instant accordingly. It's hard to explain. It really is. And it sounds a little bit crazy and off the charts, but I've done it enough times to know it was a real phenomena. And the fact that this ancient site also translated into this language, it's all the stones in this particular place were positioned in this language. Does that make sense?
Do you think they were put in English just for easier ability for you to translate?
Well, the translation was flow of energy. So for example, at the entrance to this site, there was like a seating area and a kind of walled area. And where you sat and talking to the other person, it made sense. So the positioning of where things were allowed for the amplification of that flow of energy. So it's a language of flow and movement, but it was encoded in this site. It was like an ascension, place of training, if you like, is what I discovered.
Right.
So that's when I realized that what I'd learned, which I'd never heard of and I developed myself, was encoded in this site. It was a real thing. It was a real phenomenon. And like I say, when I did that out in public, that experiment, it worked. It was as though everything combined synchronistically. I guess a lot of it's about synchronicity. So the language opens the door to synchronicity, and it doesn't matter what sounds you're listening to or reacting to, it synchronizes. Whether it's a film that was recorded 20 years ago in the background, whether it's, a car door slamming, a car hooting, a train doing its thing, trams going by. If you're in that state, everything synchronizes to your consciousness. That's the clearest way I can explain it. And I don't know how it's happening. I don't know why I understand why it's happening. It's happening because you're inviting in it. You're putting an invite through your consciousness and your elevated consciousness to that information stream. But it's powerful. It really is, and it's opened the doors to levels of understanding with regards to our ancestry, mm-hmm. and the holiness of some of the things that they practice.
Do you astral travel too?
Occasionally, but it's quite rare. Occasionally, I used to when I was younger, but not so much anymore.
Wouldn't that be a part of trying to figure out the concept of what and the construct of what you were going through?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, what I was going through was it was a thing unto itself, It was a language unto itself, and I knew where it, I didn't go right through the door at the end of it. I have done previously because I recall having done it previously, and then I came back out of it. So I did have done it once where I did go all the way through and I slipped into another reality and then came back into this one.
Out of all the times that you have seen your past lives, what you've gone through, have you ever been shown any future lives that are coming?
It's hard to say. I've got memories of other timelines that in the future that I haven't done. So, for example, I've got a whole memory of moving into a house that I didn't move into. I've got a whole memory of buying a boat that I didn't buy. I've got a whole memory of 2012 ending. As far as I'm concerned, 2012 ended. You know, but I can't explain why I have that seepage of memories. I don't understand how I got from one timeline to the other. It's so seamless. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried to find the exact cross point of the timeline, especially the 2012 one, and I can't. But I know it ended. I 100% I know 2012 ended.
Okay. Do you think you're going through your own Mandela effect?
What? Yeah, the whole man. Gosh, that's the whole thing in itself, isn't it? No, things for the most part are pretty much the same on each timeline. I haven't noticed any drastic changes, but like I say, they're only snippets from each part. But there are at least 3 timelines that I seem to be able to recollect from. Whether that gives rise to the multi-universe, multi-world theory, quite possibly. Are we on the best timeline? I don't know. But it's definitely a phenomena from what I've experienced, yeah.
We've only got about 2.5 minutes left with you tonight. And what message would you like to convey to our audience who maybe is starting to have strange experiences?
Try and get support from others that might understand what you're going through. I think that's important. I didn't have that, so that would certainly help. But yeah, a journey of discovery can be a good thing. You know, follow your intent, follow your highest joys. Try not to succumb to submission. That's one of the worst things you can do. You know, succumbing to submission, doing something against your intuition. It's like we are wired to know right from wrong. We really are, and we should not be doing the things that hit our intuition. If your intuition's saying, "Hold on, that's wrong," don't do it, even if it costs you getting arrested or something like that. You know, or not. It's like, don't go along with things just because they are the way they are, or try not to, at least. But yeah, it's tough. Spirituality, meditation, discovery, but these are good things. These are good things that evolve. We need to evolve. For as far as I'm concerned, it's about evolving. If you're not evolving, you're dying. You know. It's better to burn out than to fade away, in my opinion.
Very true. Where can people find your work, Dan?
I'm like I say, I haven't really got much of a social presence. I'm not trying to sell any books, but people can get hold of me by email, mailing at email.com, as in mailing address at email.com. That's email with an E. Or I've got Facebook as well. If anyone wants to get hold of me on there, it's Wingman. I use a handle wing as in WING and man MANNE. If someone wants to get hold of me on there, they're welcome to.
That is awesome. My friend, I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio, staying up real late, and now it's early morning with the sun rising behind you. I really do appreciate you doing this from the United Kingdom, Dan, and you're an intriguing guy, and I'm curious to see what happens in the future.
Thank you very much for having me, Dave. Thank you.
Not a problem, man. It was a great pleasure to have you on our show. So thank you again. Once again, our guest tonight, Dan Luca on Spaced Out Radio. Coming up next, we got some good news for you. The SOR Newswire, Captain Shirk, has put together a fantastic rundown. And the thought of the day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Good job, my friend.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be on.
Oh,
It was a relief to get some of that off my chest as well. Believe it or not, especially the honestly, Dave, the Big Bang thing is so real. The memory.
Oh yeah.
I would challenge any physicist to. I don't know why they won't go past before the Big Bang, but that I believe that's what happened, and it would make sense to create the energy, that I was talking about.
I hear you. My friend, I have to get going because I have to get the news ready for tonight, but I want to say thank you again for coming on the show, man. Really do appreciate you taking the time.
No, thanks for having me.
Stay in touch.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
That was fun. Hey now, Terrible Times, how are you? Duke, I did. Just add me. This weekend, Duke, may be a little tough for me because I have to do some hosting for Laurie and Fenton's UFO Con. I have to do that virtually, which sucks. Excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah, following weekend, Duke, would be better for me. Say on the Saturday night. I know, big fat creep. I apologize. Don't even spell it, Jules. That one's your fault. Jules, because I read you. Oh, you're terrible.
Favorite show. Site and pick a new SOR at the SOR today.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the downright frightening. A 9-year-old girl has died in Sri Lanka after she was beaten with a cane during a ritual locally believed to drive away evil spirits. 2 people, the child's mother and the woman who performed the ritual, have been arrested and appeared in court in connection with the death, Sri Lankan police say. The mother believed her daughter was possessed by a demon. The girl died in hospital after losing consciousness during the ritual. The incident took place in Delgota, about 40 kilometers, 25 miles from the capital of Colombo, where the woman was known for offering exorcism services. Police said that oil was poured on the girl's forehead and she was beaten because her mother claimed a demon needed to be expelled. Some of the girl's neighbors tried to step in when they heard her cries, but they were unable to save her. Police have warned that it's not the first time exorcism attempts have been performed in the area, leading to physical injury or death. Geez, I didn't think smacking the hell out of someone, especially a child, would get the demons out of them. I think the demons were in the person who was swatting her with a cane. I hope that person gets life. No child deserves that. That is grotesque child abuse. Grotesque. Demons, come on. This isn't a movie in Hollywood. Police in Prince Edward Island say they wrangled up a jaywalker for the second time this week, except it wasn't a human being that will pay the ticket. No, this was a seal. Yes, a seal. After one of the animals was spotted crossing the highway, the RCMP in Prince Edward Island said the officers stationed at the Queen's District were called out last Tuesday on a report of a seal pup crossing a highway near Fairview and heading towards a field in the opposite direction of the water. A member of the Department of Fisheries and Oceans joined in on the search, and the team used a snowmobile and a drone to locate the wandering seal. The seal was then loaded onto the snowmobile and taken back to the road, where a Department of Fisheries and Oceans vessel was waiting to transport the animal to the North Shore for release. The rescue came only days after another seal was found wandering down a sidewalk in Charlottetown, PEI, about half a mile from the nearest water. The seal was also given a ride back to shore and released. No, they were not arrested. They will not have to pay any jaywalking fines. Here's a strange one from California. Officials from Petaluma have decided their city has enough places to fill up gas-powered cars. So last week, the local city council unanimously voted to ban new gas stations, building on a 2-year moratorium passed in early 2019. The council must approve the measure again at another reading. When it does, the bill will go into effect immediately, making Petaluma the first in the country to permanently halt the construction of new gas stations. The decision is directly tied to the city's climate plan to get zero emissions by 2030, and is also pointing to the fact that the future of cars and trucks is electric, and other cities need to start planning for that now. Petaluma is just 15 miles in size and is currently home to 16 gas stations, with another recently approved one on the way. City officials said that's more than enough for all of the 61,000 current residents and future ones too. Based on this inventory, there are multiple stations located within a 5-minute drive of every existing residence, as well as areas planned for residential residential development by the 2025 general plan, but not yet constructed. The ban will not only stop the city from approving any more stations within its limits, but also prevent currently existing stations from adding more pumps. They can, however, add more infrastructure for electric cars. In fact, the legislation streamlines the process for stations to allow electric vehicle chargers and potential hydrogen fuel cell stations in the future. This is a massive step forward in the fight to protect communities and the climate from fossil fuels. Environmental nonprofit Stand.Earth says the new prohibition comes as part of Petaluma's ambitious plan to completely phase out carbon emissions by 2030. It could also inspire other localities to take up similar legislation. An environmental organization group called the Coalition Opposing New Gas Stations, otherwise known as CONGAS. Why does everybody need an acronym? CONGAS? Applying for the entirety of the Sonoma County, which includes Petaluma and 8 other cities, to get rid of gas stations. There's no need for new fossil fuel infrastructure from gas stations to pipelines to refineries, Matt Crow says. Yeah, in California in particular, where the state climate targets are required by law, new gas stations will have a short shelf life and could be abandoned before they make enough money to pay for their own shutdown and cleanup. The gas station ban is a common sense step to not get further bogged down by fossil fuel infrastructure. You know what I like about these stories? They never add the other side. They never do. Anyways. Still a lot of people driving on fossil fuels. We'll say that. Owners of a Roomba robot vacuums have complained the devices appear drunk following a software update. Problems include the machine spinning around, constantly recharging, or not charging at all, and moving in strange directions. The device's maker, iRobot, has acknowledged its update has caused problems for a limited number of its i7 and S9 Roomba models. However, it's added a fix would take several weeks to roll out worldwide. In the meantime, the firm is asking those affected to share the serial numbers of their devices so they can remove the most recent update so the Roombas aren't acting drunk anymore. Disgruntled customers have posted dozens of complaints on social media over the last few days. My Roomba is acting like a drunk on a 2-day binge, wrote one Twitter user. My i7 Plus keeps wandering off and is unable to return home, said another. A poster on Reddit listed a number of problems with their Roomba, spinning around and bumping into furniture, moving in weird patterns, traveling diagonally away from its charging dock, recharging 5 times while cleaning one room, but only for a total of 8 minutes. We've worked with impacted customers to roll their robot software back, iRobot said in a statement. We are also implementing an update to ensure any similar issues are avoided moving forward. This update is being deployed to all customers over the course of the next several weeks. I got to ask you, maybe I'm confused about this, but what the hell does a vacuum need an update for? I mean, it doesn't have apps. It doesn't have anything to do but sweep your floor. If it has sensors not to bump into anything, you really don't need to update that either. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, I want one of these Roomba things. They look pretty cool. But what the hell do you need to update it for? It's not like it's going to go into the kitchen and make you a milkshake with its latest update. It sweeps the floor. How much more updating does it need? I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh. Well, they're wondering over in the UK if Banksy, the great street artist, has struck again. An artwork depicting a prisoner daring escape has appeared on the wall of a British jail, prompting excited speculation that it was painted by the elusive street artist Banksy. The mural shows a prison inmate making an escape from Reading Prison, a disused institution in southern England that once held the Irish poet Oscar Wilde. Its style matches the artwork of street art's most enigmatic star, but there has been no confirmation yet that Banksy is behind it. The mysterious artwork likely depicts Wilde dangling over the wall of the jail on sheets from his typewriter. He was held at the institution, then known as Reading Gaol, for 2 years from 1895 after being imprisoned under a historical law against gross indecency that was used to prosecute gay men. Wilde's 1898 poem, The Ballad of Reading Gaol, is a reflection of his time there. The prison closed in 2013. In December, Banksy confirmed that he was behind a new mural in Bristol, the English city that many believe is his hometown. The mural, which the artist dubbed Achoo, depicts an old woman violently sneezing, her dentures shooting through the air. Banksy confirmed the work was his on his Instagram page, the usual forum on which he verifies artworks. No other works have been verified since. But he has been busy during the past year, dropping a handful of pandemic-inspired works. In April, he posted a set of images to Instagram showing riotous rats graffitied around his bathroom in a nod to those adjusting their lifestyle due to COVID-19. The artist added the caption, "My wife hates it when I work from home." The following month, he honored healthcare workers with an image entitled Game Changer, which featured a child playing with a nurse doll wearing a mask and cape. And in July, the artist posted an Instagram video showing himself spray painting an image of a rat onto a London Underground train as he urged people to wear face masks. It was later removed by transportation authorities for violating their strict anti-graffiti policy. Now, if you've never seen Banksy artwork, check it out. The guy is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, here's an owner with a sense of humor. Photos of a cute pooch have gone viral after this dog's owner replaced his missing eye with a stick-on googly eye. Amy Higgins saw some googly eyes for sale online last week and immediately knew they'd make a perfect present for her adorable Italian greyhound, Samson. Once they arrived, Amy, who's a vet assistant, wasted no time sticking one to Samson's empty and sealed eye socket. Took some snaps to share it online. You never know the difference, the caption quoted. The funny photos of 7-year-old Samson were a hit and quickly wrapped up thousands of likes on social media. Amy said, "I thought it was hilarious seeing Samson with the googly eye and quickly took some photos of him to share with friends and family. Everyone needs cheering up at this moment, especially with lockdown. At first it took everyone a minute to figure out which eye was the googly eye. Everyone thought it was really funny, and a lot of people told me it was what they needed to brighten their day and cheer them up. So I'm happy I could make people do that. I posted his photos on Facebook, got 15,000 likes, which I was impressed by. Now Samson has to fight off the paparazzi." Amy said she was unable to control her own laughter while taking the shots, which got Samson so excited that he started doing zoomies around their house. Zoomies. Yes, animal-loving Amy and her partner Jonathan have created their own personal menagerie with pet hedgehogs, mice, rats, crayfish, hermit crabs, 3 dogs, including Samson. Poor Samson developed severe cataracts in his eyes that didn't respond to treatment, so last year he had one eye removed, but that doesn't hold him back, Amy said. Despite a few bumps, Samson is adjusting to his new life very well. She said when Samson was diagnosed with cataracts, we decided to go ahead with the $4,000 surgery to fix it, but unfortunately the surgery didn't work in his right eye. After the surgery, the pressure in his eye began to build up, got very uncomfortable for the pooch, but now he's doing all right. He's got a googly eye. Love this story. An Arizona woman who found a Purple Heart while working her shift at a thrift shop was able to reunite the item with the family of the man who earned it during the Korean War. Teresa Farron said she was working at the Christian Family Thrift Store in Phoenix when another employee brought her a piece of cardboard with multiple medals and other military paraphernalia attached. One of those items on the cardboard was a Purple Heart dating from 1951 to 1952. I looked on the back of the Purple Heart and his name was there, Farron said. Farron said someone online did some research determining the man, Korean War veteran Eric Carl Blauberg, had died in 1988. She said she was able to locate his grave in an Arizona cemetery, and that led her to calling an associated crematorium that was able to give her the names of Blauberg's children. Farron said she then used Facebook to contact Blauberg's daughter, Lisa Walker. I didn't even know he had a Purple Heart, Walker said. It would have been the only thing we ever had of my father's. Farron arranged to have the Purple Heart and the other items mailed to Walker in Florida. My father was in Korea the exact same time that their father was in Korea, Farron said, and my father has passed away. So Lisa was saying it's divine intervention because she finally got something from her father. That is awesome. That is awesome. And finally tonight, California Highway Patrol said a driver using the high-occupancy vehicle lanes of a highway was found to actually be traveling alone, except for one of the best dummies police have ever seen. The CHP said an officer stationed in Baldwin Park pulled over a truck traveling in the HOV lane last Wednesday because the vehicle's windows were tinted too dark for the officer to see if the driver had a passenger. The officer soon discovered the apparent man sitting in the passenger seat of the truck was actually a highly realistic mannequin, complete with a COVID-19 face mask. The CHP said the mannequin was by far one of the best dummies they have ever seen in trying to pull this off. The driver said he'd been using the dummy to travel in HOV lanes for over a year before he got caught. He was issued a ticket for HOV lane violation, carrying a maximum fine of $490, but well worth it because he got through traffic faster. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What do you think ghosts want from us? Oh, interesting answers here tonight. Let's get to some of them. Dirty filth. Someone to hold Merle down while they beat him up with ghostly elbow drops from the top ropes. Beautiful filth. Beautiful. I'll put him in the camel clutch, too. Andrew. To protect and help us, to confound us, to comfort us, to scare us, to pass info to us, to help us from us. All of these and more, I think. Captain Canada. To leave them the heck alone. Oscar. $19.95, no CODs. John, unconditional love. Ronnie, they want us to tell certain ghost hunters to stop screaming in their faces. Wake up and smell the ectoplasm. They aren't all demons. Robot Guy thinks the ghosts want sex. 13 Ballads, the paranormal TV episode of Ghost Vet, where the cast and crew trip over their equipment due to the rather earthly barking from the ghost hounds of Gibson's. Beachcombers fan here. That was kind of cool. Eric, they want our beards. You know, Eric, by the way, everyone, Eric with a K, we are his fourth favorite show out there. We're number 4. We absolutely love being number 4 in his life. Katie, to be seen and heard. Alex. Of course, Alex is the kind of guy who, he's the life of the party. You'll hear why. Shouldn't we have to define what a ghost is first? There is a lot of assumptions based on a plethora of paranormal modalities we group into the term ghost. It's like the 2 blind men and the elephant. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for playing along. Ryan, I would assume to be left alone. Would you want someone bugging you in your dimension? Gail, I am a firm believer we should leave them alone. It's rude to intrude into their lives uninvited. Lori, to be left alone in their world. If they want you, they will leave a message. Davy, ghosts want us to take notice of them, our world, their world, and everything in between. Steve ends with a question mark. Acknowledgement? Kevin, SOR host Dave Scott, ghosts are people, and they want what we all want. Girl Scout cookies and a wide selection of flavored Italian ices. Dale, credit card numbers, obviously. Double Bobby, they feed off our life energy like all other non-corporeal critters. Recently deceased humans or ghosts all want to interact for personal reasons, their own, and some are just jerks. Natasha, they want to be us. Gil, love, they may not know they have passed. Coral, I think they want to observe us, watch how we interact with each other, speak to us when they want, and even sometimes when we ask them to. Carrie gets the final one tonight. Respect, acknowledgement, and boundaries. They also love to help those alive with our human issues. Some, I suppose, are not helpful and just cause havoc. If you enter their space and you're reactive, they will mess with you more. They are individuals just as we are, except they are invisible. Wow, they're invisible. Sometimes they are not, though, Carrie Lynn. Sometimes they are not. Sometimes they want to play in the world of woo and give you a nice photo of them. Anyways, thank you to everybody who participated in the Thought of the Dave. We will do it all again on Facebook and Twitter tomorrow. Remember, if you're on Twitter, it's at Spaced Out Radio. Thank you to Captain Shirk for putting our news together, getting me all riled up with the damn vacuum cleaners. Them Roombas don't need updates. They don't. Don't do it. Unless it's going to be making you a sandwich, making sure your shower is the right temperature, don't do the update. And to Dan Luca for telling us some incredibly weird stories tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone chasing us down on Facebook, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club, and all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us. Because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.